Welcome. I'm Francesco Giumelli, Assistant Professor in International Relations at the University of Groningen.
And I'm Pim Geelhoed, Assistant Professor in Criminal Law and Procedure, also at the University of Groningen.
With this video, we want to introduce to you the Illicit Trade Group, which is a new platform of researchers, students here at the University of Groningen who are working on issues related to illicit trade. This is the first video when we want to present the activities of the Illicit Trade Group, and we want to start with our launching event that took place on November 4th here in Groningen. We had a great lineup of speakers. We had two deans from the Faculty of Arts and the Faculty of Law, Professor Antonia Visser and Professor Wilbert Kolkman. Then we had a lecture given by the President of the University of Groningen, Professor Jouke de Vries, on the pros and cons of globalization. We had another intervention by the Deputy Director of UNICRI on countering illicit trade, Dr. Liv Willensem. And then we also had a lecture by Professor Louise Shelley from George Mason University on the pros and cons of globalization.
And that was just the first event in a long series of activities that we aim to organize. We started already years ago with a yearly summer school, and now that is turned into a winter school as well. And all of these activities are to be found on this YouTube channel later, as well as all of our future activities, which include academic exercises, but also training sessions and activities in which we reach out to a more general public. So make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, check out our website, and follow us on social media. You will find all the details in the description. Thanks for watching.
Welcome to the Illicit Trade Group launching event. We are delighted to be here today with a great audience and a great lineup of speakers, because we would like to discuss with you the relevance of illicit trade and why illicit trade should be at the center. We think it should be at the center of the University of Groningen research agenda, but also elsewhere as a very important topic with great societal relevance. So today we're going to be talking about three different things. What is illicit trade? We're going to be talking about the Illicit Trade Group and what it is, and we're going to be discussing the planned activities for the coming months or possibly the coming years. Now, what is the problem? As you can see from the pictures, when you think about illicit trade, different ideas can come to mind. Counterfeit products, illegal fishing, wildlife trafficking, human trafficking, cultural heritage, oil, arms, illegal mining, drugs. All these are the examples of areas that would normally relate to illicit trade activities. All these sectors have one thing in common, and this is the role of money. Money is either the end product of an illicit activity, so illicit activities, illicit trade would be done to accumulate wealth, but it could also be that illicit money are used to carry out illicit activities. So there is a very important, very strong connection between money and illicit trade, or the sectors of what we would consider illicit trade. Examples. And this is also, of course, now becoming even more complicated with the entering into a digital society, because the way in which the internet has shaped and has entered into the picture is changing the nature also of the crime. On the one hand, it is supporting all these classical illicit trade activities that we've talked about, but at the same time, it's also contributing to the creation of new crimes and new problems, such as, for example, the theft of digital identity. It's opening up the world of cryptocurrencies and the different crimes that cryptocurrencies can be used for or involved in. So this is just a very broad understanding of what the problem is when it comes to illicit trade. No problem. We're talking about issues, specializations, areas that produce certain goods, certain areas that consume certain goods. We have the illegal supply chain of trade that is at the core of our understanding and our study. Can we move to the next slide? So why is all this relevant? So we define this in what we call the three S's. So the first S is stability of security. We know it's very typical for conflict-driven
conflicts driven by natural resources, might be illegal mining. Organized crime is accumulating resources, and criminal organizations to then create a security concern. So there is the security, as we understand, wars and conflicts are fueled by illicit trade. Then there is a second S, which is an issue of sustainability. The issue of sustainability is very important. When we talk about illicit trade, it is because there is some sort of regulation that is being violated. And of course, if there is a regulation, it's because there is certain externalities that we want to avoid. And the violation of that rule creates this externality precisely that undermines some sort of environment. So for example, the environment, when there is an overexploitation of resources, and then the environment suffers. But we also aim at expanding the understanding of sustainability. It's not only environmental sustainability. What we want to talk about is how our societies can be sustainable if there are, bluntly said, too many cheaters around the room. So if our society are based on an international market and there are too many cheaters, how can we ensure that these markets can be, and therefore our societies can be sustainable? And then there is the third S, which is the issue of safety. If a trade in a certain good is regulated, it's because maybe there are direct externalities on individuals. So we talk about drugs trafficking, for example. We ban the sale of drugs because it's inherently unhealthy. That's why we don't want it. We want to make sure that certain medicines, especially in the COVID time, and the first thing that many people went in the COVID time, they went to buy medicines online. And of course, there was an overflow of counterfeited products. And also later, we're going to see how this is going to pop up in the program. So for the three S's, we think that illicit trade is very relevant for our societies, and it is very important that someone at the University of Groningen studies it. And that's where we come in. That's what we try to do. So this is really a platform at the university level, because we believe that international trade is a multidisciplinary topic. We want to study from different angles the actors, the norms, the rules, and the impacts of illicit trade, basically from different angles. We want to focus on the phenomena. So what is it? What are the things that are happening? The platform. How is it possible that things happen? And how also we represent sometimes crime and illicit activities. And then, of course, we also want to bridge to the society. One of the missions of the Illicit Trade Group is trying to bridge the academia and society gap, and we want to become. We want to try to produce what we call usable knowledge for the society at large. If you move to the next slide, you'll see already a few people joining. This is only a snapshot of some of the members of the Illicit Trade Group from different faculties. It's really a diverse group, and we're very excited to have this on board. This is not by far a comprehensive list, but it's going to become even fuller, we hope, after today. And if you can move to the next slide, this is basically what we're planning in the coming weeks and months. We want to have, of course, an online presence. We need to make sure that we collect all the expertise at the university level, so we can actually show the world that we are actually doing something about illicit trade, which is linked to governance. We're planning to organize events, so we want to have webinars for disseminations, for instance, but we also want to create an environment at the university level where we can talk about research and get feedback from each other. We are doing some educational activity already planned with UNICRI. You're going to see also later, and people say more about our collaboration with UNICRI. We're planning a winter school in January, again, given the conditions, we're going to be online, and a summer school in July 2021. This is a continuation of what we started already in 2016. And then we also want to, of course, we're academics, and the universities today need to reach out. And so we're planning for grants. So we're already putting together a cost action, and from the Illicit Trade Group, we have some ideas for capacity building to reach out with funders and donors. And then, of course, the sky is the limit. So whatever ideas come from the Illicit Trade Group experts, then we're here to help, for instance, for project feedback and grants and visibility to the overall topic. So that would be, in a very short time frame, what the Illicit Trade Group is, what's the topic, and what the experts are planning and will be doing. But now we'll turn over to Pim Geelhoed, who is going to continue to lead this session. Thank you very much.